it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have my husband Mike here, and I asked you guys on my community page what you wanted to see, and the new construction regrets was #1. So we decided to make one. I think you guys will find this very helpful, or just maybe entertaining if you've kind of already gone through the process and you want to see, what we spent our money on our house and how we kind of prioritized our upgrades. We're going to be talking prices of some things, so just keep in mind that this may vary depending on where you live and, obviously the market at the current moment. So just keep that in mind. Also, these are our own personal preferences. You might have a higher handiness level than us, or, just you want different things in your home. We're just talking about our personal preferences and sharing them with you. So hopefully that they can help you, or, maybe you can think of something that you didn't think of in a certain way before. Also too, I just want to say a lot of people ask like how much money we spent on upgrades, and I will tell you guys we spent exactly 10% of our base price. So this could vary depending on your builder, but typically it's right around that 10% mark. Wouldn't you say that's what we were told and kind of what we experienced?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Good job, Mike.
Yeah.
I will say too, we don't have a ton of regrets because we actually got the opportunity to fix them. So we actually picked one floor plan, and we hadn't broken ground yet, and we kind of realized, oh my gosh, this other floor plan would be so much better for us, which we kind of touch on in my other videos. But long story short, we ended up getting it switched, and we had to go back to design center. So we already had one design center appointment, and then we kind of had some regrets in there, and then we got to fix them with our second design center appointment. Now, a lot of you might have two with your builder. We only had one. So we got 4 hours at our design center to pick everything. So that's very stressful, especially when you just don't know what they offer and you're just getting the prices as you pick things out, and you kind of have to weigh and hear the totals at the end. It's just kind of hard. But
well, honestly, what they did for us, they sent us like a price sheet with all the options, but it's just words, and it says, $200. And so it's hard to just sit there and look at words and then numbers and know what you want. It's just like anybody. You gotta go and actually see it in person, and then you might see that next level up really does make the difference. It just,
Yeah, well, they didn't send us certain things. Like, they didn't send us the price of our flooring. They didn't send us the price of tiles. So there were things that were surprises to us. But if you guys do get packets from your builder before you go into design center, I highly, highly suggest looking over those, kind of pricing things out. I mean, we really budgeted kind of like what we could do and what we couldn't do before we got in there, which helped so much. It felt so much less overwhelming. So if you guys don't get something like that, maybe you can ask, say, hey, is there anything we can get virtually so we can kind of prepare for this appointment before we go in? I know a lot of builders do the design center appointment differently, but this was our experience. It was one design center appointment for 4 hours. So yeah, we're gonna kind of touch on the things that we picked the first time that we wish we would have, changed.
We were able to fix the second time.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into the upgrades. So the upgrades that we first kind of want to talk about are the ones that are the hardest to change, and that we kind of prioritized. We said, okay, a lot of our budget is going to be going towards these items because we don't have the knowledge or handiness to change them later, or honestly the budget. So we're willing to pay for these things up front. And those things were our cabinets. What else?
Our countertops.
The tiling, we really wanted to have non-builder grade tile in our home, and things like flooring, carpet, paint color, those are easier to change out later, but tiling gets messy, countertops kind of get messy, and cabinets, obviously you're spending money on cabinets, you might as well just upgrade to what you want. At least that's kind of how we saw it. I know a lot of people will opt to paint their cabinets, but that was just something we were not willing to try. So
heard some bad horror stories about that.
Yeah, so we didn't trust ourselves. We don't have enough knowledge. If you know how to paint cabinets, then yeah,
all the power to you.
Yeah, you shouldn't waste your money on painted cabinets. But anyways, so we spent bulk of our money on our countertops. We got a two-tone countertop in our kitchen.
So the island countertop was different than the countertop on the back wall.
Yeah. And that really, we just did that because I felt like I didn't want too white of a kitchen. I know white kitchens are very trendy, but I didn't want to look back and be like, dang, the whole thing is white. So I think the gray in the back provided a little bit of contrast, and it was really cool because I love concrete countertops, and we got a faux concrete countertop. It's actually a quartz, so it kind of has that look. This was one of the changes we made last minute. We had originally just all white kitchen, all white everything, and then I was like, you know what? I think a little pop of something would be fun. So Mike was not about it, but he was very hesitant. But I was like, I think it's gonna look really good. But you know, you always second guess yourself when you just see like little tiny samples, and you're like, will that look good? So I think my biggest advice too, when you're just trying to decide on things, is consult Pinterest. You know, if you're debating like a white subway backsplash with, you know, a certain kind of countertop, like just search for that on Pinterest, and most of the time you can find an image that looks very similar, so you can kind of visualize that. So we utilize Pinterest a lot. Our backsplash, we got a herringbone pattern of the most expensive backsplash tile that we could get, and I definitely don't regret doing that. I think at the time I was like, dang, would I have just been happier with something, you know, simpler and cheaper? And I look at that backsplash every day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we did that. It looks beautiful. We upgraded to a large subway tile in our shower, which is simple, but I just feel like it looks very clean and it'll look classic, and you know, that'll be in style for a long time. I really, really like that we did that. We upgraded our tile in our bathroom. I thought it was really worth it to upgrade our floors. They didn't have a lot of good options. I really would have liked a fun cement tile, but our builder didn't offer that, so we opted for just like a tile that looked like wood flooring. So I think it still looks really nice. If you guys want to prioritize these things and you don't want to have to do them later, I would recommend spending your money on countertops, cabinets, and tile, because I think you'll be really glad. Those are very permanent fixtures in your home, and yeah, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
We're glad we did that. Another thing that we would have regretted and that we changed in Design Center the second time was upgrading our secondary bathroom. I think a lot of people have the mindset, let's upgrade our master, you know, that's the one we're gonna be in every day. And you know, we kind of started thinking about it and we're like, well, the secondary bath, that's the one all the guests are gonna use, and that's the one everyone's gonna see. And when we're out in the living room, we're honestly gonna probably be using that more. So, you know.
Which we do.
Yeah, we do. And I think that was something that was so overlooked, and I'm so glad we did. And I think a couple of you guys have even commented saying that, I wish we would have upgraded our secondary bath. Like, so if you're thinking about, if you're even like, oh, we might want to upgrade that down the road, I would highly recommend, you know, trying to upgrade those countertops and just the cabinets and everything in there, if you're able to, just because I do think that that's something that we would have regretted for sure. I always feel like I have a lot to say during these, and Mike just sits here, so I'm trying to get him to tell you guys one of our things, and he's like, wait, what is it?
I give the subtle head nod and the
yes.
I feel like we're in a show. Michael, why don't you tell them about our cooktop? So yeah, so I think the first time around, when we had the first house that we went with and did the Design Center, we just stuck with the electric, just the electric stovetop. And we had gone back and forth about why that was a good thing to do and versus the gas. And I think it is easier to kind of clean those up, you know, than it is, we've noticed, at least in our experience, than the gas.
It's
but
such a pain to clean the gas cooktop.
Yeah,
so if you're not about that.
It's a little more inconvenient. Yes, you got to take the grates off, you got to clean there, you got to get around the burners. It's a little more difficult, yes. But I think I would say we are happy with the choice to change to gas, right? Because I don't know, it looks, as far as aesthetic goes, it does look nicer. It looks a little more high end if you're wanting to go for the look. In our opinion, at least I think, right? We agree on that. I know, right? High end. I've listened to too many of these videos. Anyway, it does look a little more high end than a electric cooktop, in our opinion, and it does. Some people just prefer that electric look, and if you do,
it's
good for you.
This is a big personal preference one,
yeah,
I feel like,
yeah.
But I will say I was sitting there trying to Google electric versus gas cooktops, and I really couldn't find that much. Really? So if you guys are kind of deciding, I can kind of tell you guys from my experience. I researched that electric cooktops typically are a little harder on your pots and pans, which I think we have found to be true, because in our apartment we had electric. I had electric cooktops my whole life until we moved into this house. This is my first time cooking with gas, and you know, I watch a lot of cooking shows, and just like I'd always kind of imagine like a gas cooktop in my home, and the price difference for us between the two was only $200. So I know that's still a lot of money, but when you're kind of comparing upgrades, that really wasn't that much. We were like, oh wow, it's only $200 more to get gas. So We upgraded that the second time because we kind of regretted not going for it the first time. And we do really like it. I think it is a lot easier on our pots and pans. We haven't ruined as many as we did in our apartment. It's definitely harder to clean. Electric was so easy to clean. But yeah, I think the aesthetic of the gas just looks really nice and a lot more professional, like you have like a gourmet kitchen. So yeah, that's the cooktop kind of regret.
I don't know. I kind of like, because I don't know a whole lot about them. I feel like the electric ones, they'll kind of heat up and then it kind of would slow down and it would heat up and it would just try to keep. Whereas the flame,
It might have just been ours.
It might have just been ours, yeah. But the flame does seem to, it just holds a steady, you can adjust it and it's just always going to be medium.
I think that's why it's like professional cooks use it and stuff.
Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. I'm not professional.
Me neither.
This is a weird regret video, I guess, because we kind of started off, we don't have regrets so much because we were able to kind of fix them.
Everything. So let's move on. So another big regret that we could have potentially had and still kind of have, I guess, is not putting enough lighting in. And I know this isn't a fun or glamorous, you know, design center upgrade, but it really does make a huge difference. And for us personally, it would have been a really hard thing to add later because we don't have any knowledge or, you know, expertise in installing lighting. In our upstairs game room, we put a lot of lights up there just because there's only one window, and we kind of figured, you know, if we're playing games at night, we want to have good ample lighting in there. Our front entryway is very dark, and I think that's something that we didn't really think about. I wish we would have put a couple extra lights in there. So if you guys are able to look through your model and kind of see the lights and what they have, I would definitely take notes of that before, you know, you sign on the dotted line, just so you can kind of see what to upgrade. But we looked at a lot of similar models on Zillow and stuff, and we could kind of see what lighting they had. So we just wanted to make sure that we had ample lighting in here. And when we're saying lighting, we mean the pre-wire, not the fixtures. So the fixtures we found with our builder were just kind of outrageous for, you know, what they wanted to upgrade them for. So we got like pendant lights pre-wired, but we didn't buy our builder's pendant lights. We just decided to install those on our own.
That much was relatively, we watched a couple YouTube videos, and I feel like, again, I'm not an electrician. I'm not a big construction guy, but I feel like I'm apt at doing certain things, some things, and if you watch a video or two, and safety first, obviously, you can do some of those things. Like, as long as the pre-wire is done, you can put some pendants in, or
Worst
you can
case.
swap out some fixtures for ones that you like, because the wiring is already there. It's the actual act of running wires and putting in the mounting that is required for the lighting that is very
over our skill level. So for lighting, definitely, you know, make sure you guys get enough lighting in your home so you feel like it's well lit. Same thing goes for faucets. Our kitchen faucet, we didn't upgrade that at all, and we put that in ourselves. They wanted like a ridiculous amount to upgrade our kitchen faucet. So like that, our bathroom faucets, our shower heads, stuff like that. We just got everything basic and then upgraded that later. We upgraded our vanity lighting later. So things like that you can definitely, you know, change on your own and save some money there.
Yeah. I had no experience with any of this stuff ever before, and I feel like I turned into a decent little plumber and electrician. During all this, just by watching a couple videos. Emphasis on safety first. Flip your breakers, all that stuff before you're swapping out electric. Make sure you can actually make sure your water's all turned off and everything when you're going to swap out faucets, and just be careful with all that stuff. And then
So another thing that I think is really worth it that we kind of, you know, made the last second decision the second time around at the design center was to upgrade our doorknobs and hinges. So originally I was like, we'll just get the standard ones and then we'll paint everything. But then I forgot about hinges, and you know, your doors are like rubbing on stuff, and I just feel like spray paint would kind of be, I don't know. Maybe you guys have spray painted your stuff and it's turned out great, but it just made me a little wary. And it was only $90 for our whole house to, you know, switch those out, which like I thought was totally worth the money. So yeah, I would definitely, if you guys are thinking about it and you're like, oh, we'll save money not upgrading that, I would definitely, you know, just pony up and pay for that, because think of how many doors you have in your house, how many hinges you have, and you know, $90 was 100% worth it.
I think that's one of those things that you can very easily just think, $90, I can swap those out. But then when you actually especially it really hits you when you walk through the house, but it's hard to visualize how many doors you actually have. I mean, you think I can't even keep count, but we
yeah,
have
like
a ton
linen
of doors.
closets and like stuff like that. All those doors, like it's a lot. So yeah, definitely I would recommend if you want like black doorknobs or gold or whatever, just get that at Design Center. All right, so another regret we could have potentially had would be buying our builder's appliances. And I think it sounded really easy and appealing at first because, you know, oh, it's just all delivered into the home and it's there and you don't have to worry about it, you know, like your first day in the home, like where's our refrigerator? But if you guys watched our moving vlog with the, you know, disaster of the laundry machine, you could argue that we would have regretted not buying theirs, but I still stand by us buying our own appliances just because it was so much cheaper and we kind of got what we wanted. They really wanted a lot of money for appliances. Obviously they upcharge you, so they're gonna make money on appliances. At least our builder did. So we opted to buy our own, and I think the cheapest refrigerator they were offering was $2,500, and we bought our refrigerator for $1,300. So that's a lot of money to save there. And I mean, we just ordered it way ahead of time. If you guys are gonna buy your own appliances, I highly recommend, with everything being on back order right now, do it 2 months in advance. Like, you can set your delivery date. So yeah, I would definitely look at buying your appliances way early before you move in, just so you're not like out a washer or dryer or out a refrigerator. But if you know you want that convenience and you're willing to pony up a little bit of extra, then go with the builders. So that's just our experience with that. Okay, so one thing that we actually kind of do regret, it would be buying the builders hardware, like for our cabinetry pulls. I think that there's so many pretty ones online and you can get like exact ones to match your space, and the ones they gave us weren't like my dream cabinetry pulls, and we did pay $500 to upgrade all of our pulls throughout, like that included our bathroom and our kitchen.
With that being said, you do got to be careful because, unless, I don't know if you know, but they all do come in different sizes, the spacing. So you got to make sure your builder grade ones are going to match what you're going to want in the future. The spacing, there's like 3.5 or 3.25 or 4 or 2.
You know, you don't want your builder grade 3-inch pulls and then you're like, oh, well, we want the really long gold ones. Like, you're not going to be able to switch. So you could actually ask your builder. Like, our builder was going to not put holes in our cabinets, so we could have installed them ourselves. But then we kind of just were like, you know what, I don't want to deal with having those all be straight. And, you know, we just wanted that done for us because obviously the professionals can do it better than we can. So we just picked a nice, you know, pull that we liked and we had them put it in. But I kind of, you know, wish that we hadn't spent all that money on those, just because I think that we could have found something better. But I still really like them, and, you know, that's just something you want to weigh.
We're going to floor you with this next one.
Yes. Actually, we do want to talk about the floors. So we did upgrade to have vinyl plank flooring in a couple of areas. It actually didn't come included in our living room, and we also upgraded it in the master. So we added that, and then we actually upgraded it a couple levels because the flooring that I really wanted was a couple levels up, which it ended up being very expensive. And in hindsight, we could have done this after we moved in, but we did just want to, you know, kind of have it done. And I did like the option that they gave us. So a lot of you guys asked me what our floors are, and they are sailcloth by the Mohawk Boardwalk collection. I will link it below, but I really, really love them. I just feel like they give our home like a nice bright feel, very casual. They're very modern, and I just like them. One thing that I do think made a big difference aesthetically with the floors is getting them done in our master, because our master is off of our kitchen. So, you know, when the doors open all the time, it just kind of looks very seamless, and it doesn't look like it's just kind of like a carpeted bedroom. It just looks very nice. Mike's like looking off to her bedroom.
Sorry.
But yeah, I really, really like that we did that. It also included our master closet as well, which would normally have been carpet. So it's really nice. I think that that was worth the upgrade for us, but obviously this is all personal preference and, you know, your budget. But.
Yeah, we didn't, the only places we didn't, and we don't regret, I think that was a good decision. We didn't upgrade in the other 2 guest rooms.
We kept the standard carpet.
Those are carpet there, and it looks great, it looks fine, and we don't right now hardly use them, and when guests come, they get maybe used a tiny little bit, so, and the carpet's still nice in certain spots.
Yeah.
And then we left
winter.
it, and then exactly, and then we left it upstairs too, but that's kind of more for a sound thing, like, you don't want to have, hardwoods on the top floor.
Yeah.
Be loud.
Okay, so next we just want to talk about paint color. And this is actually probably the most asked question on my channel is what is your colored paint on your walls? It's the same color throughout our whole entire home. We did not upgrade our paint color. And you know, that is something that is up to you guys if you are willing to paint on your own. But to us, that was something that if we wanted to change it down the road, it was very easy to do. And I honestly feel like the paint color looks very nice. It's a warm white, but when we actually talk about it in depth, you'll see it's much cheaper than it sounds. It is just the Sherwin-Williams flat white paint. It comes in a 5-gallon tub. You can't even buy it in a 1-gallon just because it's like a very
very basic.
Yeah,
it's
very builder grade paint. But I do like that it's a warm white, and you know, the trim kind of pops against that. So our trim is like a very bright white while our walls are a bit more warmer, so it gives it that kind of cozy feel. The only like thing that does bother me about it is a flat white. So, you know, if you scuff like a chair or like you brush your hand against it, it does kind of show dirt and scuff marks very easily. But that's just, you know, obviously when you go with the cheap stuff, that's what you get. So it's kind of up to you guys. If that would really bother you, then I might think about upgrading the paint, but that's what we got.
You got fortunate in that sense. I guess what they just was basic offered was nice.
Yeah, because I personally wanted white throughout the house just because I think that white on the walls is just very classic, and you can do a lot with, you know, everything else. If you have just like a white background. So that is my favorite. I know a lot of people like to change things up, but it's also easy then if you want to then add like a pop of color or a accent wall with like maybe a moodier color. That is very, very trendy right now with like, you know, the dark greens and the dark blues and the grays. Like that does look really nice. So, you know, getting just the basic flat white, you could just easily do that to one wall. So okay, so our next thing that we definitely are so glad we did and would have 100% regretted if we didn't do it would be our Farmhouse sink. So this is actually kind of a funny story because I was the one always saying we need this upgrade, we need that upgrade just to make the home look more designer and custom, and Michael's always like, eh. And I was honestly the one who was like, we don't need the Farmhouse sink. We can just get a big one, that'll be totally fine. And
she didn't have the vision.
Well, Mike was the one who was like pushing for this thing. He's like, no, we need that. And honestly, for me, the biggest reason that I didn't want it was the price point.
It was expensive.
It was like jaw-dropping expensive. It was honestly one of our, like for a single item, like the most expensive thing in our entire home. It was $2,000 to upgrade our sink. The
thing with it is, it's the way the countertop is, it's cut to the sink. So, I mean, you get a sink and either they leave that little lip that's around, it's just a sunken sink. It's left kind of as a hole cut in the middle of your countertop. This one here, it is, they're all cut to fit to fit the sink, but it's cut and there actually is no lip. It's just the sink is the lip, and it just looks really nice. But it's like, as far as changing it down the road, that involves cutting the countertops and fitting this thing in, and your cabinets have to be fit the right way too, I guess, I think, for it. So it's not a simple thing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, it's not one of those things where you're like, oh, we can upgrade that later down the road. That is definitely a very permanent fixture. It might be something you want to think about if your builder offers it. I know some of you guys say your builder doesn't even offer a Farmhouse sink, so you know, just depends on your builder, but that was kind of our experience with our sink. Definitely worth it. Such a big splurge, and kind of, you know, it was a shock at first, but I'm really glad that we ended up ponying up for that one.
We're still saying it all the time, man. This is a nice sink.
And then lastly, I just kind of wanted to give you guys a quick little list of things that we personally would not have paid to upgrade. So maybe this will kind of help you decide, but like personally for us, these were not priorities. Paint color, carpets, light fixtures, baseboards, molding. That's very easy to kind of install yourself later if you really want it. To clarify about the carpet, we definitely get the vinyl in certain areas, but we would just get the basic level carpet. Like we didn't want to like upgrade to really nice carpet because that didn't make sense to us. And then bathroom mirrors. So those were really easy for us to just pop off, and we just bought a mirror ourselves. I know they want a lot to kind of just add that nice frame on there. At least for us they did. So that's something I wouldn't upgrade. upgrade. All right, you guys, so that's really about it. I know I probably left some stuff out, or maybe you have some lingering questions, and if you do, definitely leave them below in the comments and I'll try my best to get back to them. Also, if things come up, I will try to put them in the description box so you can kind of read more if you have a certain question about something specifically. Also, I know too, I did just want to say again, this was our own personal experience. You know, you might not have a lot of this stuff in your house. Your builder might offer different things. The pricing might be different. You know, you might prioritize different things. This is just what we said, but I'd definitely be curious to know your guys' experience with your design center and what you decided to prioritize. So if you guys have anything interesting you would like to add or important you think that other people should know, definitely leave them below in the comments as well. And yeah, we just like to say thank you guys so much for watching our videos. It really, really means a lot to us, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
See ya.